Hi, I'm Cole Bowden from Firebolt, and welcome to FireEdge. In this video, we'll be talking about Subresult reuse in Firebolt, and how it's able to use the intermediate results of your queries to speed up your later queries. To get started, let's get an example query on the board. Let's take a look at an example from the industry benchmark TPCH. In this case, we've written a query which takes line item, which contains information about orders, and then joins that with part, which contains additional information about what was contained within each order. The query also performs filters on both line item and on part, checking for orders that were placed within the last year and for parts that were relatively small. Once we've submitted this query, the query engine is going to create a query plan for it. It will start by scanning what's in the part table, and then performing that filter on parts size less than 10. This is then joined with the results of scanning and filtering line item. We take the result of that join and return it to the user. If the filter on part is the build side of the join in our query plan, and we build the hash table on the filtered part relation, even if we change our filter on line item, Firebolt is going to be able to reuse this part of the query plan. So say, if we go from 1 year to 2 years, the structure of the query plan will look quite similar. And in this case, during the second query's execution, none of this work has to happen again. That way, you can reuse computation from the previous query in the new query. This is super useful when you write data-intensive applications, because in many cases, you will have homogeneous query structures across your workload. With Subresult reuse, Firebolt is able to use your old queries to speed up your new ones. Let's take a look at Subresult reuse in action in Firebolt. We're again running in TPCH, but this time I've loaded up 100 gigabytes of data. The query looks more complicated, but it's not that different. This time, we're looking at the total fraction of revenue in a month that comes from promotions. This is TPCH query 14. So let's run this query. As you can see, we quickly begin scanning dozens of gigabytes, and the query is going to finish after a little bit more than 4 seconds. Overall, we scanned about 30 gigabytes of data. Now, ordinarily, if we ran this query again, we would have result caching, which would return the same exact results immediately. However, we have that disabled. We also have subresult caching disabled for that query. I'm going to enable subresult caching and run this query again. Even without result caching, you can see the query returns results much faster. This is the power of subresult caching. We scanned less than a gigabyte of data, and we sped the query's runtime up by more than 4x. The cooler thing is that I can now start changing this query. If I add something like that filter on part size, less than 10, and run the query again, you can see that once again, the results come back almost immediately. And I can keep changing things in this query, and we'll continue to scan a limited amount of data and get results back very quickly. Now, think if this was a data app, and you were sending queries with different sizes all of the time. In production, Firebolt wouldn't keep rebuilding the hash table artifact every time you submit a query. Instead, we would keep using that hash table to speed up your data app. The best thing is that all of this is fully transactional, which means that as your data gets updated, deleted, or changed, the caches will be transparently invalidated, so you can be sure that you're getting fresh results every time you run a new query. If you want to learn more about Subresult reuse in Firebolt, check out the documentation or our blog about it, both linked in the description below. Better yet, you can try it out for yourself in Firebolt with $200 in free credit today. Link to that in the description as well. Thanks for watching.